Next question says, the gym I train at doesn't have any boards, but I'll soon be making my own. The only power rack we have has the holes spread too far apart for proper mid or high pin presses. Chest level pin presses are about 2 inches high, but I think that's low enough. I have a slingshot. I can do towel press and floor press. That's aside from incline and decline. I know you recommend using the slingshot in 4-week blocks and swapping it for overload work. However, every time you've been asked about slingshot work, you suggest a different exercise to be replaced. So how do I identify overload work? Mainly, how can I know which exercise substitution will be best each time I can't do an exercise? So your overload work is basically the exercises that you mentioned. They're, especially for the bench, they tend to be partial range of motion. They are movements where you're handling more weight than you would normally handle in a full range of motion bench press. So just the things that you mentioned. So board press, a partial range of motion pin press, a towel press, a floor press, and slingshot would also qualify as overload work. So all those things are going to qualify. As far as which one do you replace, that's up to you. It's up to you as far as which ones, don't work for you, either from an equipment standpoint or from a training response standpoint. At least as far as guided programming goes, we don't really get down into the weeds as far as figuring that out for you, but it's something that you have the tools to figure out, especially with the training log. You can look at the training log, look at your block reviews, and it's not something that you'll know definitively with 100% certainty now. It's something that you'll just kind of have a feeling on. Like, I don't think board presses work that well for me. Well, it starts out like that, and then over time you can get more and more certain about it as you collect more data. So, I'm getting a bit off track here. Sorry. As far as knowing which exercises should you substitute for slingshot work, it's just kind of up to you to make that call, because it depends on your training group and whatnot. We'll be implementing a better system for this in the near future, I hope, where stuff like this can get added into the program for you. Work in progress. These things often take longer than I expect them to, but this should be in the near future. So it's up to you which exercises you replace it with. I would recommend you pick an overload slot, and that's what you replace it with. If you're going to be replacing multiple exercises, then I would recommend that you just make an exchange. So let's say board press, pin press, and let's just say board press and pin press are exercises that you can't do, and you want to make a substitution for those. So every time you see board press, you're going to substitute that with slingshot work, and every time you see pin press, you're going to substitute that with floor press work. That would be an example of a very easy substitution to make, and then you're just swapping exercises. The structure and the flow of the program stay built in, they stay functional. So, and you don't have to think about it too much. You don't have to design too much, and that should take care of you. I think that gets at the heart of your question. If not, please feel free to ask it again or let me know that I missed the mark.